Okay, so this video, we are going to be talking about determiner and headword identification, specifically in noun phrases, which you will see below. I will be using NP as a way of kind of simplifying when I write noun phrase. So noun phrases are pretty simple in that they require one thing. A noun phrase is a phrase that contains a noun, right? Fairly simple, much trickier when you're analyzing it. But I would say hold on to the fact that really what's at stake here is that a noun phrase has a noun and it's kind of the words that build themselves around that noun. So we're going to take a look at this example, a very yellow banana. So this whole thing together is a noun phrase. Okay, so all four of these words are our noun phrase. So there's no grammatical subject, no finite verb. It is just a phrase. And all four of those words together form our noun phrase. Now, A is what we would consider to be an indefinite article, right? Which means that unlike we're just talking about any old banana. It doesn't have to be the specific banana. But what that means is that A functions like a determiner. Okay, and I will spell it out this time. Actually, I'm going to erase it and move it over a little so it's not taking up so much room. Determiner. Okay. So once again, with our little trees, I just want to point out we're doing the form up here and we're doing the function down here, right? And we're talking about these words function in the noun phrase. So very yellow. Okay. Very is an adverb. Yellow is an adjective. And what that means is that here we actually have an adjective phrase, right? Yellow is the head word of that adjective phrase. Very tells us something about the yellow. So very modifies yellow, just as yellow modifies banana, right? And it's an adjective phrase, so both of those words should be modifying. And then we have banana, which is a noun. I'm just going to use N. And its function is as the head word in our noun phrase. So the form function tree that I'm using here just helps me keep track of all of those various forms as well as the functions in the noun phrase. So all four of these words together form the noun phrase. Banana is the noun and it's the head word. It's the main word. And I will write HW means head word, which means main noun in this case. Okay. So let's keep going. That's the baseline for noun phrases. So we're going to talk a little bit about the components of a noun phrase, and I want to start by talking about different types of determiners. So when we're talking about determiners, you are going to see me abbreviate these as DET. And there are four main types of determiners that we see in English. One is the definite article, which is the. It's our only one, so nice and simple. Then we have indefinite articles, which are a and an, right? A and an are general, the is specific, so that's one of the ways you can think about it. Specific versus general articles. Next, we have demonstrative pronouns. So that would be this, that, these, and those, right? So these bananas or those bananas. And then we have possessives, which could be possessive pronouns like my or their, but it could also be possessive proper nouns like Harry Potter's, right? Harry Potter's banana, my banana. The key here is that determiners always appear before the noun or first in the noun phrase. Okay. So let's talk about adjective phrases. If there is an adjective phrase, it will follow the determiner. Okay. And if there's an adverb, then it will come before the adjective. Okay. So nice and simple, starting to see a pattern. In terms of nouns, and I'll scroll down a little bit, right? They will always appear last in a noun phrase, right? And they will always be the head word, right? In the noun phrase. And I'll scroll back up to a very yellow banana, right? A is an indefinite article, it's our determiner, it appears first. Then we have an adjective phrase, which appears in between the determiner and the noun, and the adverb comes before the adjective. And then the last word is our noun, banana, which is also our head word for the noun phrase. Okay, it's all about the banana. So let's take a quick look then at the pattern, and anything I have in brackets would be considered optional. So in a noun phrase, you could have a determiner that could be followed by an adverb, which could be followed by an adjective, right? Or as many adjectives as you want. But the one thing that is non-negotiable is the noun, which is also the head word. So here's an example. His really old bike, right? I could also say his really old green bike, right? All of the adjectives are going to kind of follow each other, but still appear before that noun. So let's take a look then at some noun phrases, and let's do a couple of form function trees to help understand them. So I am going to go through this sentence with you, and we're going to identify all of the noun phrases. So as he trembled, shock taking over, his skin shimmered with veins of pure gold, iridescent like a blue butterfly. Okay, so let's talk then first about our noun phrases, and then we'll go through and we'll diagram them so we can discuss them in a little more detail. He is a pronoun. It will exist by itself and be a noun phrase on its own. Okay. His skin is our next noun phrase. Veins is our next one. Pure gold and a blue butterfly, right? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 noun phrases. So let's go ahead then and take a look at them. So he will start with, and we're going to first identify its form. So it is a pronoun, right? And it's a noun phrase on its own, which means that he is the head word of that noun phrase, right? Very simple, very straightforward. Okay. His skin will be a little bit more complex. So let's take a look at this. We have his and skin. So his is a possessive pronoun, and skin is a noun. So if we go up, remember in our determiner list, we have possessives as a type of determiner. So if I come back down here, that means his is functioning like a determiner. Skin is going to be the head word. And so together, they're going to form a noun phrase. Okay. Let's take a look then at number 3. Veins. Well, veins is a noun. It's the only word. So then it must be a noun phrase on its own, which means veins must be the head word for our noun phrase. Okay. Nice and simple. Let's take a look then at number 4. We have pure gold. And I'm going to leave a little bit of space and you'll see why in a moment. So pure gold. I would say pure is an adjective, right? And so that would be part of an adjective phrase. Here it's acting like an adjective phrase on its own. It's one word, right? Here we have a noun. There is, interestingly, nothing before pure, right? So I'm going to put a 0 there, and you'll see why in a minute. I just want you to kind of understand the relationship between some of these things, and I'm going to draw a line. So together, we have a noun phrase that's comprised of an adjective phrase and a noun. So I'm going to go ahead and underline all of these, the 0 included. There's no determiner, right? So it's a 0 for a determiner. Pure modifies gold, and gold functions as our head word, right? So if you're thinking about the different components of a noun phrase, the reason I decided to go ahead and diagram the lack of determiner is so that you can see where it would go, even though it's not there, right? You don't necessarily have to have it. So let's look at our last one. A blue butterfly. A blue butterfly, right? We have an adjective here. A is an indefinite article. Butterfly is a noun. Blue belongs to its own adjective phrase. But all together, they create a noun phrase, right? So A is a determiner. Blue modifies butterfly, and butterfly is our head word. So again, right, this doesn't actually, or I should say these like form function trees don't actually assign meaning. They just help us organize the meaning and how we're understanding these words to go together, distinguishing between the forms that they take versus the functions that they have, in this case within the phrase. Okay. So this should give you kind of a solid sense and understanding of noun phrases and how they function. And if you find yourself concerned, you can always draw a line for a determiner, an adverb, an adjective, a noun, and put a 0, right, where one doesn't exist if it doesn't. And that can sometimes help with the identification.